This is Roosevelt Island. It's part of New York City. It's in the middle of the East River between Manhattan and Queens. It's roughly 800 feet wide and 2 miles long. It's a little bit hard to get to and from. You could take the F train there on the subway. You can take this cool ski lift style tram thing from 59th Street on the Manhattan side. Every once in a while, that tram does get stuck in the air and leaves people dangling over the East River for a while, but that's just adding to the fun. Most of the time, it's fine. Good luck. It's called Roosevelt Island. It's named after Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and there is a dramatic and lovely, relatively new park on Roosevelt Island. It's called the Four Freedoms Park. It's named after the famous State of the Union address FDR gave in 1941 when he talked about freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Well, tomorrow, thousands of people are expected to make their way onto Little Roosevelt Island for a big, highly anticipated speech by Hillary Rodham Clinton. Secretary Clinton has, of course, already technically announced that she is running for president. She did so with this video 9 weeks ago. Since then, she's been doing small-scale events with small numbers of voters, mostly closed to the press, not all, but mostly. And she's mostly been in Iowa and New Hampshire, but she's also been traveling to some other places around the country. This tomorrow is going to be her first big, large-scale Hello America public event. They're basically considering tomorrow to be her campaign kickoff. It's supposed to be 85 degrees and partly sunny tomorrow for the event. People are expected to be filtering onto the island all morning at 11:45 Eastern. Her speech is due to start. The campaign says this will basically be Secretary Clinton stating her case, saying who she is and why she's running. Against this giant, chaotic Republican field, when there are so many different Republican candidates running, but honestly almost no policy differences among them, against the unexpectedly spunky challenge that Secretary Clinton has already got from the unabashed left in the form of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. For as fascinating as this campaign already is in these early days, I really, really, really want to hear why Hillary Clinton says she is running. I mean, honestly, I know that she is running. I want to hear from her the mission statement for her campaign. I want to know why she's running. When it comes to imagining her in the White House and her making it to the White House, honestly, I also want to know something about how she's running, about how she's planning to get there, and why she thinks that plan will work. Joining us now is Marlon Marshall. He's Director of State Campaigns and Political Engagement for the Hillary Clinton campaign. And am I right that you will be the MC tomorrow in Roosevelt Island?
There's a little pushing it, but no, yeah, I am going to be emceeing the event. I'm very excited about it. Excited to be here.
Thank you. It's nice to have you here. In terms of the way that I explain the expectations for that, logistically, I think all those logistics are right.
Right.
In terms of the goal of the campaign, is this the mission statement? Is this hello America, here's who I am and here's why I'm running?
I think yes. You're going to get a chance to hear from her directly why she's running, why she's doing it, which a lot goes back to her personal story, goes back to her mother, how her mother was a fighter. She was abandoned at an early age. And then when she was 14 years old, she was abandoned actually at 14 years old. And then, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought for a second.
That's all right.
I apologize.
You won't be nervous tomorrow when you're on
I will not be nervous tomorrow when I'm see just on your show. But no, she was abandoned at an early age. And then when Hillary was a teenager, her mother told her the story of how she was abandoned. And she said Hillary was really shocked that her mother was able to, keep moving. And she said, why? She said, throughout all my life, people kept giving me chances. And that's exactly why Hillary's running for president. She wants to be that fighter for everyday Americans every single day.
To give more people those chances.
Absolutely.
That made her family story possible. Yep. When I look at the challenge ahead of you, I know that you guys, and you in particular, are in charge of making sure there's Hillary Clinton organization in all 50 states. Right. I look at the challenge, historically speaking, of holding on to the White House after a president from one party has held on to it for 2 terms, as Barack Obama has for the Democrats. It's a real uphill. It's happened. I mean, George H.W. Bush won after Reagan, but it's a really uphill thing to do. Why does it help you to think about putting staff and money and energy, like in a place like Utah, in a place like Alaska?
Yeah. Well, first of all, for a competitive primary. And we're expecting competitive primary, and we have a large staff in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina. They're out there organizing. They've done over 3,500 one-on-one meetings with individual supporters to talk about how to get involved in the campaign. And as you mentioned, we have staff in every other state as well, too. They've hosted over 330 grassroots organizing meetings, getting people in. And you want to be ready. So if you get past the first 4 states, you want to be ready to have a competitive primary in any other state. The real reason, though, is that I'm a true believer that organizing is about the power of the personal story. And when you get an organizer in a room, you get volunteers together, and you share the story about why they support a candidate. What is it about them? Like for me as my mother, I support Hillary Clinton. It goes back to my mom. My mom was a teacher for 36 years. I saw her teach every single day, 5th graders. And seeing that really, I wanted those kids to have, I don't know how to describe it except more just my mother's vision for children is what drove me every single day as I was growing up. Having those stories, having people organized, telling those stories, that's why people are going to give their time and their energy to the campaign. It's important that we start that early in the campaign to build those relationships.
Now, you say that you're expecting a competitive primary.
Yep.
Bernard Sanders, independent of Vermont, I described him as having an unexpectedly spunky campaign so far. Do you see him as the chief competition for the nomination? How do you see the Democratic field shaping up? I think we're preparing for anything. And so we're just, again, preparing for a competitive primary. If you look at Iowa, unless you're an incumbent president, no one has gotten really above 50% in Iowa caucuses. So anything can happen. But what you got to do is really go out there and earn everyone's vote, earn the support. And that's what we've been doing by putting the organizers on the ground this early. That's what we can continue to do. And that's what you can hear about the speech tomorrow. Is like, why? Why should you vote for Hillary Clinton for president? You're going to hear that tomorrow. When you see, the reason I ask you specifically about Bernie Sanders, one of the things I have in mind tonight is he's doing another one of his events tonight at Drake University, where he's got a really big turnout, really boisterous turnout, a lot of support for him. And I think people saw him as more of a, forgive me, more of a Dennis Kucinich kind of character, somebody who's going to be more of a gadfly to the campaign. He's really mobilizing a lot of people. Does that unsettle you as an organizer when you see the big crowds he's turning out? I think, look, we've had a lot of excitement too. Again, I mentioned our 330 organizing meetings, over 11,000 people have gone into people's living rooms and homes to be a part of those meetings. We had, again, those 3,500 individual conversations. We have events lined up for Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina next week. So we're excited about our excitement that we're seeing on our side too, and feel really good about it. Marlon Marshall, Director of State Campaigns and Political Engagement for the Hillary Clinton campaign. Will you please put in a good word that Secretary Clinton should come on the show and do an interview? I'll tell her. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll check to make sure. I know you will. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Lots to come tonight. Stay with us.